This video is all about a video game idea that I've had for quite a while now, but unfortunately I'm not a programmer, I don't have money, and I don't have any friends that can make video games, so this video game will never come to light unless my YouTube channel grows into a massively successful thing that allows me to get a bunch of money, and I could just throw money at this until it's made. But anyway, I want to just share with you the very basic idea of the game, so let's get started. And what you're watching in the background is some game. I don't know what game you're watching because I'm going to choose the B-roll footage later. Anyway, the game idea is kind of a battle royale style game, so sort of like Fortnite, sort of like, what is the other one, DayZ, you know, those kinds of games, or PUBG, sort of, kind of, but not exactly. So let me explain the difference, okay? So this game will have unique characters with abilities and starting weapons. So you're not reliant on, oh, I drop here and loot a treasure chest and I find a better, unique, you know, purple legendary weapon. No, none of that crap. I mean, it will have some of that stuff, but not like, oh, you found a super weapon in a chest, you got lucky, and now you win the match. So also, it's not going to be like a hero shooter like Overwatch. It's going to be a little more realistic, okay? But this one is, it's not so much fantasy. I'd say it's more modern times. But let me just get on with it. So it's a battle royale game, not too many people, so not like 100 people fighting it out. I hate that. I think that's like too many people, right? As a small-time indie game, I don't like giant maps. I don't like spending 30 minutes in a match and roaming around. That sucks. So let me explain kind of the world map, okay? So it's an island, and it has in the very center of the island, and it's always like the same layout, I believe, kind of sort of with a few random elements, but the center will be like a military base that everyone leaves from, kind of sort of. Everyone will funnel out of it over time, and I'll explain that more in a bit. But after a short time, after everyone is out of the military base and the gameplay is on, that military base becomes hostile, so you can't return to the base, or the NPCs will attack and kill you, and you can't realistically fight the military as what you technically would be in this game as like a high school kid. Alright, so each game will have, and this is where it gets a little different, because unlike Fortnite and stuff where you have like everyone is just their own character, each game will have two main protagonist characters that are like the good guys, and two antagonist or bad guy characters, and the rest of the characters and players are slightly less powerful but still very fun to play characters. And so right now I'm going to introduce just the characters, the protagonist, the antagonist that you would play as. And this is in no particular order, but the first character that you could play as is a overly large, stealthy crossbow guy. Now, this is not a very interesting character, but I'm going to get him out of the way anyway. So his powers is that he can enter stealth if he has his crossbow available and it has ammo. But he cannot move while he is stealthed. Now, unarmed melee becomes a sprinting charge attack if he loses his crossbow, which I'll get into in a bit. So this guy has a sprinting charge attack as a melee attack, alright? Which will knock the enemy on the ground, pick up his crossbow if they stole it, and then shoot a crossbow bolt into them. And more on this in a bit, okay? So the perks of this character, because it's got a bit of a survival mechanic, he does not need to eat. He's such a big guy, he doesn't need to eat. He's going to be well fed the whole match. He doesn't have to worry about finding or scavenging food or anything like that. Now, this character also, he has low stamina because he's big and he can't run fast or very far. Now, his crossbow is a 3-shot kill weapon. No headshot bonus or anything of the sort. He only starts with 6 shots. He could probably go find more, you know, in a settlement nearby or something, but the enemy player is slowed if they get hit by a crossbow shot. So if you land a shot on an enemy player with the crossbow, they can't run away as quickly. Now, when he is not in stealth, he is the largest and slowest character in the game. But also, another perk he gets is that he starts the game earlier than anyone else. So he's always the first guy out of the base, and he can set up an ambush point. So I figure most players that play this character would probably spawn camp the starter area near the exits of the military bases and try to get like an early engagement on whoever, you know, they see. So this character, if another player throws an object at him like a flashlight or their bag or whatever, he will be stunned for a little bit. I don't know exactly how long. Now, if he is on a slope, as in he is on a slanted object like a hill, and he gets stunned, he will ragdoll all the way down the slope. Alright? So he can't just do ambushes where he can, like, be on a slope and then get behind cover when people return fire, all right? So this is a balancing thing. The slope prevents him from doing pyramid Fortnite-y crap. Anyway, so he drops his crossbow if he gets stunned. Other players, if they choose to pick up the crossbow, have to manually reload the crossbow first before they can shoot back. But if they do manage to steal his crossbow, reload it, and then shoot him with it, which the ammo is attached to the crossbow, not your player's inventory, then it will be a one-shot kill on the crossbow guy itself. But at the same time, the other players who yoink the crossbow can't zoom in, they can't aim down sights or anything of the sort. And I would say this is more of a third-party or a third-person game than a first-person one, with a few exceptions. I'll talk about that later. Now, this character, has no melee weapon. But due to his large size, he gets a damage bonus if he wields one later on. So if he finds like a golf club or a shovel or something, and he decides to use that as a weapon, which there'll be plenty of melee combat in the game, because it's not going to be a very gun-heavy centered game, except for a few moments or characters, rather. But if he does manage to get a melee weapon, he will deal bonus damage. This should offset the fact that he's slower than everyone else. But he does have bonus HP. He will have more health than other characters now. But he's a large target too, so his hitbox is bigger than anyone else, right? So the strategy when playing as him would be to get an early kill and hope the player that you kill has a good weapon, and then you snowball from there. Now, the counter strategy to this character would be fight him on a slope, grab his crossbow, run away, dodge his charge attack, arm the crossbow, and then one-shot him, and that will kill him. So why would this character be a fun character to play as or against in a video game like this? So it would be high adrenaline 1v1, brawls. Also, it's a jump scare ganker, and this is supposed to be a semi-survival game with jump scares. Yes, that's right. More on that in a bit. Okay? Fast matches, if you want to play the crossbow guy, you're the first guy into the game, you set up your ambush, you get into a fight. You're just there to get some kills and move on, go next, and you don't really want to have to move around or have high actions per minute. You can just sit in your ambush spot, chill, drink a soda, watch YouTube. When you see an enemy player, you attack them, you win, you lose, you go next, it's fine. So, with that said, let's go to the next character. Now, this one is a main protagonist character, alright, and this one may not be fun for a lot of people, but I think a very certain demographic would love to play this character. Now, this character is what I would just dub a non-combat scout girl, alright? So her powers, she can use binoculars to scout and see all other players from far distances. Now, she is also innately allied with protagonist number 2, which we'll talk about later, and the neutrals. So, now here's the thing, right? There's going to be some sort of reward system. I haven't fully worked that out, but players get a bonus reward if they escape or survive with the main protagonist girl that we're talking about. So it is players are incentivized to find her and basically white knight her, okay? So now this character cannot use weapons until the very late in-game phase, depending on the state of the story of each playthrough, which we'll talk about in a little while, but now, on day 2, this character will be suffering from the sick, tired, hungry status on the second day of playing, which right now I have it set to where each day phase is 10 minutes. So a match lasts 30 minutes, and then it goes into overtime, and then if it goes beyond that, that's up to the players, kind of sort of what they've been doing. I'll talk more about this later in the video, but because everyone is trying to survive with her, they're going to try to heal her sickness, her injuries, feed her, etc., right? So there is an announcer in the game, kind of like, a lot of these, not all the games have an announcer, but think of like the movie Hunger Games, how there's like an announcer, and they show who died on the previous day, kind of like that. But this one is like an actual character that, people would relate to or be comical. I don't really know, but this protagonist girl will get a visit from the announcer in person and receive a random non-combat gift. Alright, also, this protagonist girl has the ability to mend a player that is critically wounded, from critical wounded to crippled. So, they're not fully healed, they're just able to hobble around and they're still vulnerable. Now, she has a few perks. She has the smallest hitbox in the game, and also, she is required for the kill the announcer ending, which there's different endings, different in-game states, which reward different types of points. You know, it's kind of like, think of that game, Friday the 13th, where there was an ending where you can kill Jason or whatever. So think of it kind of like that, kill the announcer ending, right? So the strategy with this character, it's a great character to play passively, just to hang out, socialize. Like if someone sucks at video games, like you have like a girlfriend or something who's not really into video games and you want her to play the game or whatever, you know, someone who doesn't want to put in a lot of effort, who doesn't want to like sweaty, try hard, aim and shoot. They just want to chill and socialize, voice chat, hang out with their friends without all the combat crap. Now, no one can really technically kill this character, sort of, or that they don't really want to, or we'll make it where the game won't allow them to, until day 3, unless they're an antagonist, the bad guys. The antagonist can absolutely kill everybody they want, right? And even then, the antagonist for this character is very low priority. They don't get like a bonus or anything. So why would this character be fun to fight or play against? So everyone except veterans and griefers want the bonus points, okay? Everyone that's been playing the game for a very long time, they don't care about points because they're all farmed up or something, which you would have to constantly give them rewards and updates to keep them playing. And griefers, right? People that grief games, I'm a griefer myself. Now, everyone except those two wants bonus points, and everyone wants someone that can heal them, you know, and everyone wants a scout, and everyone kind of sort of, okay, Redditors want something to white knight. So this character is very easy to play and has very few threats, alright? But with that said, let's talk about an antagonist. Because we got some of the boring characters out of the way, let's talk about one of the most exciting ones, and this is the Sadistic serial killer. This is the playable first antagonist, the main bad guy of the game, right? So, this character starts the game away from other players on the edge of the island with a full arsenal of weapons. Pistol, submachine gun, 2 grenades, infinite ammo. The submachine gun has they're very high magazines, as in you can shoot quite a while with them before needing to reload. The character has increased temporary strafing speed, which means if he wants to strafe left and right to dodge attacks or bullets, it's a little bit faster than other characters, but he can't just infinitely strafe faster. He also does not flinch on damage taken. He is a darker, slender character model, you know, to up the spook value. He does not need to eat, sleep, he does not get sick, he does not get crippled. He is also naturally faster than average run speed only when he's near other players. Alright, this allows him to chase people down without them escaping, except for one character, we'll talk about her later. Alright, but the accuracy and damage that he deals will drop while he is running and gunning. Or we can just make it where he can't run and attack at the same time, I haven't decided yet. But his damage is heavily limited to medium range. Like, he can't snipe from long distance or anything. Now, for this character, the game is played in a first-person viewpoint. He cannot have that third-person perspective or, you know, range of vision, alright? So, if anyone tries to melee you as the main antagonist, you quickly kick them back and then shoot them in the chest with a pistol as a counterattack. So you cannot be meleeed at all. You're like a very scary monster in this game, right? Also, this character has light footsteps, not that that really matters, and this is mainly so that the light footsteps is because you're technically the killer of the island, and you want to be able to hear the other player's footsteps over your own, which a lot of games don't get right, so that's why I wrote that down. But essentially, this character also has enhanced sound perception, as in they have a visual sound aid that pops up on the screen if someone's stepping on, you know, in the forest or, you know, crunching on leaves or something. And now this character has a lot of perks, okay? So he has what I would call a terror radius. So this is very Dead by Daylight-esque, where music, like scary, spooky, bad music, plays for the other characters when he is nearby. Now, when this character is technically defeated, because you can still kill him, he rises. The player playing as him is blinded. They can't see anything, but they still have those sound indicators of where people are running around at. And he can only use a slow shooting pistol. Alright, now he fully dies in this state when he's shot in the head, all right? This is to make it theatrical, where players are teaming up to kill him, and it's a big battle, and he gets back up, and he's, flailing around and shooting, and he still might get somebody, but you got to line up that headshot and finish his ass off, okay? Otherwise, whenever you shoot him in, like, the arm or leg or shoulder, he ragdolls around and spins around, which is going to mess with him being able to shoot you in this dying state. So he has a very high, like an insanely huge health pool, right? Even more so than the stealth crossbow guy, because he's not a character, he's an antagonist. He's like the main bad guy, right? Now, he gets bonus points if he executes people with killing them. Like when he attacks people, they get downed, similar to Dead by Daylight. Like, in Fortnite, when you get downed, you're like crawling around on the ground, you don't just full die, unless your team's dead, I guess. But in this game, yeah, you down people, and they're on the ground screaming and bleeding and like, oh, I'm dying, right? So this guy, he could just shoot people when they're down and kill them. Or he can spend a little bit of extra time and do an execution kill, and he gets bonus points for that. Now, this character is also immune to fire damage. So if there is a fire, he can just walk through the fire, a la Sephiroth style. He also has a creepy smile. He is immune, again, to melee damage. He cannot communicate with other players. This character cannot voice chat or text chat with anybody. He is a silent, murderous killer. He also cannot loot other players except a katana, body armor, megaphone, a tracker, or severed heads, which I'm going to talk more about these items later. His unique execution depends on the target and the weapon he's using. And also, this character cannot swim, and he cannot open doors. This doesn't mean if you go into the water, you die. It just means that you have to swim back to shore. You can't, like, dive down and underneath the water or act in the water. You basically just, I jumped in the water, jump out of the water, okay? He can't open doors, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. So if you're one of the regular characters and you hear him coming, you have to, like, get inside something like an outhouse or a small hut or a little house or anything where there's doors. But he can still either try to shoot through the building, maybe, probably not, I might not allow that, but he could definitely throw a grenade through a window of a house and try to get you there. But he only has 2 grenades, so he's got to make them count. You got to be good at countering the grenade, so on and so forth. Now, if he decides to camp you, all right, and say you're like in an outhouse and he's outside, you would think he can just wait you out until you starve, or you open the door and he kills you. No. So he will start taking damage over time if he camps you. He also has reduced move speed after downing a player, which means he can't, like, kill a whole party of people and then start executing them. So he kills one guy, that's it. Everyone else uses that opportunity to escape. Also, he cannot ride vehicles like a bicycle or a truck. Now, he does not spawn in until the middle of day 1. So he has to wait 5 minutes into the match before he can even play. All right. Now, he always spawns the furthest away from what is called the nerd den. This is an area that will always be random because it's pivotal to the story. And more on the nerd den later, okay? So, fire near him greatly amplifies his terror radius range. So if he is, like, walking through fire, then you can feel his presence through the music of the game more intensely, I suppose, just to increase the theatrics, right? Now, the strategy of this character, if you want to play as this character, which a lot of people should, because he's really fun, I think. Your strategy is to kill everybody. More points for brutality. Now, if you have the megaphone, and you do an execution, it's a score multiplier. You go get the megaphone, and then when you execute someone, you use the megaphone as you're executing them, so more people can hear it and be aware, and you get more points. Okay. Now, if you find the body armor, you're damn near unkillable. And if you find the tracker, it amplifies your ability to find other players. And if you equip the katana the first time you equip it, it turns off your terror radius. So now you can do jump scares. You can find people, they won't know you're there, and then you can just lop their heads off, okay? Or do like a, Sephiroth, you fly downwards and stab them through the chest kind of thing. And which would be an execution, I guess. Now, you want to save your grenades for buildings with windows. You don't want to just chunk them willy-nilly into the forest or out in the open, right? So, yeah, that's what your grenades are for. And you can always get more if you kill someone who has grenades or you find some more in, like, an outpost or something. So the counter strategy to kill this character, you need a team of people. You need to focus fire this guy. If you happen to have crafted what's called an explosive truck, that is definitely a counter, though it's not. It's more of a last resort. The explosive truck is for a story state. I'll talk more about that later. You need lots of guns to kill this guy. You can't melee him, right? The crossbow could kill him, but it's way too slow. Like if the crossbow guy sees the antagonist and he starts shooting at him, the antagonist would just kill him with a submachine gun. Like, he would just trade with him and win every time. All right. Now, if you hide in a building with doors, that's going to allow him to move on and go find someone else. Or if you have a friend and they get downed, you run the hell away. That's the counter strategy. So why would this character be fun to play or fight? All right, so this would be insanely fun to play because it turns into a horror game for everyone else. Basically similar to a medallion user in Fortnite. You ever play Fortnite and there's this thing called medallions where the characters, they get a superpower and they show up on the map, and when they get close, your blood pressure goes up, right? So it's kind of similar, right? Or like a Dead by Daylight killer kind of mechanic, all right? They can be killed though, and usually by antagonist number 2. The antagonists are not teammates. The antagonists hate each other, okay? It's also just a huge power trip or a huge power fantasy to be that kind of character, to have all the weapons and have all the power and everyone's scared and running from you. So I think a lot of people would really appreciate that playstyle a lot. All right, now this one is just a playable character, not an antagonist or protagonist, just a regular character. And this is a shield haver. That's what I've dubbed him, shield haver, okay? So his powers, he has a shield that can block melee attacks, and if you time the block correctly into a parry, it will disarm the melee user. You can block crossbow bolts with it. You cannot block bullets, alright? So melee attacks grabs the enemy and then ragdolls them a short distance away. So instead of punching someone, it's a grab, and it throws them backwards, alright? But it only works when the shield is equipped and only for the shield character. Alright, you can throw melee weapons better than anyone else. So when you disarm someone's hand axe, you can throw it and it'll deal bonus damage. And it'll have a better trajectory and throwing-ishness, okay? You're also a healer. Now again, he's like a shield guy, he's like a protector. So you have a minor wounds healer. So people will seek you out, they want you to heal them, and you don't have to be aggro and murderous if you don't want to. That's the beauty of this game. It's similar to an old game called SOS, where people can choose to team up or choose not to, right? So when you grapple an enemy on a slope, again, we have slope mechanics, it tethers you and them, and you both tumble to downwards on the slope. This is a balance reason, okay? But at the same time, it disarms their melee weapon and automatically equips it to you, so you have your shield in your offhand, and you'll have their knife or hatchet in your main hand. So now neither of you are on a slope, so they can't do slope, triangle, weird dueling Fortnite mechanics against you. You have their melee weapon. So you're an anti-melee character, essentially, right? Now, when this character, the shield character, dies, they get a second chance. This is part of their powers, okay? When you die as the shield character, you awaken in what's called a safe place part of the map that only your shield character has access to initially, right? It's completely random where this is located, and it's on the outer border of the island, all right? And when you awaken in this state as your second life, you will be fully cured of illness, fully rested, you will be well fed, and you will receive a submachine gun with 50 bullets, 2 pistols with 12 shots each, and 1 grenade. So you go from a shield character to a damn near half-full arsenal character, right? But there's a catch, all right, because you're not the main characters of the story. Now, you will lose the shield, and you will become highly visible, as in you have no shirt, no camo, you have your skin's completely showing, and you have this big walking stick that people can see, so you can't hide behind stuff. And once you leave this safe area that you awaken in, which I guess would be like a lighthouse on the side of the island, that makes sense, you can never return to it. It's got like a drop-off that only, once you drop down, you can't get back up there. And if you don't leave in a timely manner, like you can't camp the area. If you don't leave in a timely manner, then you die. So there's a time limit, right? And your character here on out, unfortunately, will be crippled, and one hit will knock you into the down state. So yes, you have an arsenal, but you're also vulnerable. All right, and you can't carry anything else other than the arsenal that you get after dying the first time. So no going and looting and doing all that stuff. Looting is basically turned off for you. Now the strategy with this character is that hope you don't run into early gun users. You want to brawl melee users. You want to steal their weapon with a parry. You also highly want to form a party with protagonist 1 and 2, which we'll talk about later, or the neutrals, and give them your arsenal. When you have that arsenal, you get downed in one hit. So you're supposed to be giving away your stuff to your friends or party members if you can find them. But because you're put in a random part of the island, and the way I would have the game set up is not a way to pre-team, so people can't just join a Discord together and have an advantage over the other players. I'd figure that out stuff later, but it's something that really irks me when I play video games, so I don't want it in my video game, right? So here's the counter strategy to fighting this guy. Guns only, alright? Scour the outer edges of the map and try to gank him for a big loot drop, because if you're just a regular dude and you find the crippled shield guy, and you just take him out, and you take all of his guns and grenades and everything, right? So, why would this character be fun to play or fight against? All right, so parry montages, right? People love the Dark Souls parry stuff. People that like to grapple or throw others or throw weapons, or melee fighters, melee aficionados. If you're a fan of melee combat, why not play the guy with the shield? All right, fans of second chances. A lot of people that play like, a lot of people hate playing Fortnite-style, Battle Royale games because once you die, you're full dead. But this character gets a second try in the same match. Throwing weapons to secure an early gun kill would be like imagine you throw a hatchet and you kill a dude that had like a bunch of guns. So that's really thrilling. All right, so the playable third character. So this playable third character is also a melee character with a different twist, okay? I'm calling him Prop Hatchet Melee Man. And his powers is he can turn into a prop to disguise himself. Okay, like a bush, or part of a tree, or a couch, or something. And he has a one-handed hatchet that swings quite fast. He can do combat rolls, and if he combat rolls over loot, he quick loots it. So, like, say there's a gun on the ground, you do a combat roll over it, now you have the gun auto-equipped, right? You don't have to, like, crouch down and pick it up like other characters would. So he has a one-handed hatchet it swings fast, I already said that. He quick recovers if he gets knocked down. So if he gets ragdolled down a hill or knocked down on his butt, he can spring back up faster than the other characters, all right? So now, if you miss a hatchet swing, it has a longer recovery time than if you land it, all right? Now, when you're killed as this character, you could walk around for a bit and talk some smack, all right? You're not like insta-dead, game over, go next lobby. Nah, you can kind of shamble around and talk some smack before you fully die. When you're in prop form, if you're in prop form for too long, it starts to rapidly drain your hunger, your fatigue, and cause you to become sick. So you can't just like AFK as a prop and go make dinner or something stupid and try to survive that way. No, what's that one character in Hunger Games that turns himself into a rock and he just kind of lays down all day? You're not doing that. You're using the prop to set up an ambush. Now, if you get put into combat, as in someone lights up a room and they happen to shoot you as a couch, your prop transformation goes on a long cooldown, all right? So you can't, like, re-prop again for a while. You cannot technically take damage in prop form, though, because I don't want this to be a prop hunt game, and I don't want hackers to be like, oh, he's the couch, bang, 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 dead. That's not fun. So, yeah, you just can't take damage in prop form, but this also means you can't just turn into a prop and then soak damage or use it defensively. You literally have to not be in combat, set up beforehand. If players spot you, you can't. If they're looking at you, you can't become a prop. Stuff like that. So this prevents prop checking and weapon spamming in rooms because of paranoia, all right? Now, you also cannot use the prop around the military base, like in the fight. I'm going to talk more about the military base later, but there is a phase where you go back to it, and you can't prop form at all inside there, okay? So that would just be broken as hell. So the strategy as this guy is to avoid the shield guy and either Just hold W and mouse 1, just like run at people and push left click until they die. And AFK as a prop and a choke point, and then melee rush someone like if they try to cross a bridge or a narrow walkway or like a cliff or something, right? And then try to get better gear and snowball. Now the counter strategy to fighting this character would be if there's an object that's just weirdly out of place, like there's a bush in the middle of the road, just avoid it. Like just go around, just find another route. Be better at melee combat or have a better melee weapon, because he's just got a one-handed hatchet. It's not the most broken of weapons. Also, kill him early before he gets overgeared. So why would this character be fun to play or fight against, alright? So this is the melee zug-zug thoughtless character to play. If you just, like, if you're 6 years old, I hope you wouldn't be playing these types of games, but, I mean, I was 6, I played these types of games. But, if you just don't feel like thinking, like, say you're high or drunk or tired, you've been up all day, and you just want to hatchet people to death and run at them, this would be the character to play, right? Or if you want to have really carefully planned methodical prop ambushes, alright? Now, the hatchet isn't, like, instantly deadly, so early game, it's a strong fighting chance, but if you have the prop power and a gun, it's really frustrating. It's like, I don't see a way around this not being frustrating as hell. I mean, you walk into a room, you're looting a cabinet, and then the couch is actually a guy shooting you in the back of the head. Like, that's just not fun, right? That's probably frustrating as shit. But it would be super funny and fun for the player doing it. You could also just passively play by stockpiling a lot of supplies and just hiding the whole game. So while you do get sick and hungry and fatigued by doing the prop thing, if you just hit my mic. If you just constantly stocked up on all the food everywhere and got a bunch of healing items, then you could AFK as a prop. You legit could. So I think that would be an interesting play decision. All right, so playable protagonist number 2. Now this is one of the main good guy characters, and I have dubbed him a returning contestant with a heart of gold. All right, so say that as it may, this is someone that's been on the island before, and they're back. So his powers, he has a pump shotgun with infinite slug ammo. He has an infinite inventory capacity, so he can infinitely loot everything. His starter items that he gets, like his shotgun and his satchel bag and stuff, no one can take it if he dies. It is unlootable from other players. Now, he receives bonus points for surviving with at least 2 people. So this will force him, if he wants to min-max his point gains, to not be a murder hobo and kill everyone. This will make him team up with other people. So he auto-loots when he runs over objects. He does not have to, like, bend down or, dig through drawers. He can just yoink a drawer open. He's got the loot already, right? He can quick swap weapons. He has a built-in aim assist. Yes, this is the main combat protagonist. He has to be not as powerful as our bad guy, but he still has to have some pretty good powers, okay? Now, he has a bigger head hitbox, so he's easier his head is also easier to see in dark areas or the foresty areas. It's bright orange. And he can fully heal others with supplies, as long as he has them, which he starts out with some, sure. He has enough supplies to heal himself and 2 other people starting, so that they can remain well-fed and rested, except the shield user's second form, who only gets a minor speed boost but remains crippled. You can't heal the shield guy, okay? He remains crippled for the rest of the game, but you can still make it where he hobbles around a bit faster if he is healed by the main protagonist number 2, which is who we're talking about. He has increased stamina. He is also fire resistant, not immune, but resistant. He's not going to burn to death as quick as other characters. Now, he has to manually socialize and trust a neutral character for his full points on certain game story win conditions. So this is not a character to play if you're antisocial, if you don't want to voice chat or text chat. You literally have to, like, talk to people and then trust them and give them stuff. Alright, so as other players, if you see this character, you run up to him and you're like, hey, what's going on, man? Let me help you out. Let's party up. Right? So it encourages people to play together and make friends and make memories, which is what I think video games are all about. Now, he has a fully filled out map with all the landmarks except for the random ones, or maybe not. Because he's the good guy, knowing the landmarks doesn't hurt him. Like, if he wants to rush the lighthouse and find the shield guy, that's fine. If he wants to rush the nerd den and help those dudes out, more on that in a bit, that's also fine. Now, This character loses points if he murder hobos, neutrals that did not attack him first, or point weapons at him first. So if a neutral pulls out a gun and points it at him, he can kill them, no problem, that's fine. If they like pull out a knife, you know, around him, that's considered brandishing. He's allowed to kill them if he wants to, and he will not lose points. But if he just walks up to someone who is either unarmed or they don't have their weapons out, and they're like, hey, what's going on? And he just shotguns them in the face, he loses quite a bit of points. All right, and I don't know how that exactly would work. You can't take points away from a player. If they decide to grief, then there will be a system where it's like, oh, this guy is playing protagonist, he's killing everybody. So next time when he queues up, he can't be protagonist or something. I don't know. We'll figure that out later. So you can also do a Fortnite slide down slopes. So this character can slide down slopes. So he has that movement tech that other characters aren't allowed to get. All right. So the strategy as this character would be to make friends, help them out as best as you can, and try to kill antagonist number 1, the serial killer. Supporting the neutrals. Kill anyone that opposes you, of course. They can't loot you anyway, so it's a waste of their time to even try to kill you. But also, there is a second antagonist who can trick or mislead you, which is going to, you know, because it would be broken as hell if you just play this character and you're just allowed to party up with everybody without consequence. That's not going to happen. There's a second antagonist that exists purely to mess the strategy up. More on that in a little while. So the counter strategy to kill this character is you kill him like you would any other character, or you can befriend him and then betray him if you're the second antagonist. Again, we'll talk about her in a bit. It's a her. You can kill him as antagonist 1 before he can gear up any allies or make friends. So if you just find him out, you know, and about before he's got his party together, then you can just probably kill him. Though if he's a really good, you know, at aiming shooting games and you're not, he can still technically kill you, but you're technically stronger as the antagonist, okay? The shotgun is a very loud weapon, and it's easy to track and easy to find and easy to kill early. So the protagonist here is doesn't want to be using a shotgun as much because other players will hear it and go running, right? So at the same time, though, players I expect, like, they would just be like, hey, I'm gonna blast my shotgun off, come run to me, and I'll gear you up and we'll form a party. But hopefully antagonist 2 or the antagonist 1 would put a stop to that. So why would this character be fun to fight or play as? So this gives you that hero action movie feel. This allows you to make friends. People will want to be your friend on sight. You don't have to earn their friendship. They just see you and like, oh, yeah. You also get to be a huge loot goblin. You get to be a huge support and a heal player because you have heals. You get to be that guy that kills the bad guys. Every villain needs a hero to slay, okay? If you're the bad guy, you need a hero to kill. All right, let's get to playable character number 4. And I love this character's, like, I'm just going to call it Megaphone Jester. So, again... So this character is very different, okay? This character has a megaphone. That is their power. They can spam voice with whatever they want, and there's no muting this. Maybe you can mute. I don't know. We'll figure that out later. But you get bonus points as this character if you die to antagonist number 1. Your goal as the Megaphone Jester is to upset other players and get killed. That's right. Your goal isn't to survive or to leave the island. Your goal is to die. And I don't mean, oh, jump off a cliff or, hey, go up to a guy and, can you shoot me in the head? Thanks, bye. Thanks for the points. Off to next game. No, it's you got to be a little more trolly than that. And we'll figure that out in the future. But your other goal would be to survive long enough to get everyone else killed while having used the megaphone for the majority of the match, okay? So yeah, you still technically win if you are the lone survivor, but you have to use your megaphone while you do it, all right? So using the megaphone reveals your location to everyone. Some will kill you to deny the antagonist points. So you're just like a huge kill target, and it would have to be like an achievement to win with this character, like, it really would. Using the megaphone will build up a charge, and if the threshold of the charge is reached and a neutral character kills you, you can force them to kill their own character in grief, which is This is where the jester part comes in. I'm taking this idea from a game called Mafia, a StarCraft 2 mod, where the goal of the jester was to get killed by the town. And so, if you've used your megaphone enough and a neutral kills you, then then they die. Right? So, people playing the game will know this is a mechanic and purposely not kill you, okay? This doesn't apply to the antagonist. They're not going to jump from a high place or anything, but regular characters will if they decide to kill you. So your goal is to troll them into killing you. All right? That's, again, a very fun character idea. Now, other players can loot your megaphone to voice spam, but they don't get the perks that you do with the megaphone. Now, on death, you can continue to voice spam until you're executed or give up and die. So if someone wounds you and you're on the ground bleeding, like, they can't yoink your megaphone. I mean, the antagonist will, but they can't yoink yours. You could sit there and be like, no, come kill me, dude, and spam as long as you want until someone executes you or you give up and die. So you don't bleed out. Let's just say you don't bleed out. If the antagonist does execute you, it reveals the protagonist's location to the antagonists for a short time. All right? So, because this character has to use their megaphone for points, it's not a good idea for the protagonist to take them in the party. But, at the same time, if they die, then the protagonists are getting tracked for a little bit by the antagonists. And so, it's a really tough situation for them to decide what to do. And it causes drama, and that's fun in video games. So the strategy as this character is to be annoying and loud with your megaphone. That's all. Just play music, just talk about politics, whatever you want to do to troll people, and you farm XP by spamming your megaphone. That's how you play this character, right? The counter strategy to this character is you kill her. It's a female character for the megaphone. You kill her to stop the spam, and everyone will thank you for it, except the antagonist who wanted to kill him or kill her instead. The megaphone can be used to make call-outs for people that get it, as in like, oh, the nerd base is here, the killer is here. You can use it to make loud call-outs. It does have a tactical reason to exist. So, tryhards and sweatlords, you have someone with a megaphone. Hey, we're meeting up in, Sector B6. Bring heals. I've got lots of food. Let's have a cookout or something, right? So why would this character be fun to play as or fight against? So this is purely a troll pick character. Or people that just want to socialize and didn't get the protagonist role, right? Or people that want a shot call. Or anything else that requires your voice. This is also a very fast XP farm character for grinders. You spawn in, you spam your voice, you get killed, you go next. So yeah. Now let's talk about the second playable antagonist. And I have dubbed her Lifelong Murderer Psycho Girl. And this character is a mean one, alright? So this character, here's her powers. She doesn't need to eat or sleep, she does not get sick, she does not get tired, and she cannot be crippled. She can combat roll for fast loot. She has a pistol with infinite ammo. She has a taser that disarms and stuns. She has a sickle melee weapon that can one-shot execute someone if attacking them from behind, maybe out of combat, maybe in combat. I haven't decided yet. She can dual-wield the taser and the sickle. This doesn't mean you can stun someone and then circle behind them like in Team Fortress and then kill them instantly. No, that's not allowed. Now, when this character is killed, she can return to a standing, healthy position and act immediately, but she has 1 HP, and any hit counts as a killing blow at this point. Now, she can innately do this 2 times, and she can do it more times for every kill she gets. So this is a very interesting mechanic. So let me explain how this would work, right? So let's say you kill her the first time and she's on the ground dead. Like, you see her as a dead character. She can spring up from death and then shoot you. And let's say it doesn't kill you, so you shoot her back and she's dead again. She can spring up again and do it again. And if she's killed like 4 people, she can do it 4 more times. Or she can lay there dead and you're like, okay, I finally got her. She's finally freaking dead. And then you leave and then you come back later, her body's not there, and you're like, uh-oh. Right? Okay, but there's going to be more mechanics around this. There's a lot of mechanics to explain here, okay? So there's a short time that the player can act to spring up from death before it counts as dying. So you can't camp her, but she can't lay there and play possum until you leave if you outgun her, right? So this doesn't allow her to stay in the game unfairly, right? So she can't just play dead too long. Now, she can track other players' footsteps, as in she can see like footsteps on the ground. Her pistol can be looted, but not her taser and not her sickle, and no, you don't get infinite ammo when you take it. If the enemy is camping you in a dead state, you won't lose your spring up state charges while they're around or die or whatever, right? So it's an anti-mechanic where they can't just sit there and wait you out, right? You can't just die in a building, though, and then AFK and wait for someone to come looting it and then ambush them as a corpse, okay? So no doing that. We'll have mechanics that prevent that. And, or maybe some sort of audible noise that she can make. I don't know, right? Now, you can sense dead players within a certain range. Now, this is part of her tracking skills. She can see footprints, but she can also sense dead players. So she knows what's been looted, if something happened or not, who killed them. I don't know, like kind of a detective thing, sort of, kind of, right? Now, being near dead players will increase your move speed, your attack speed, and your damage. Other players, this is the funnest part about this character. Other players don't know you're the antagonist, okay? And here's how we kind of prevent that. I'll talk about that in a bit. So, you can voice and text chat communicate with other players, and you can party with them, but only for a limited time. You can't stay in their party like the whole game and then just kill them at the end or something stupid like that. There's a time limit of how long you get to be a party member, and you can end it early, or when the time limit ends, you will leave the party, and the player will be notified that you're about to betray them, I guess, or something. We'll figure that out later, but when there are no players around and no players are looking at you directly, as in they can't see you, if no one can see you, you have a very low crouch run, low profile. You're like stealth running kind of sort of. You're a very stealthy character when no one's around and looking at you, okay? So you can hide behind things, and you're quiet. You're no footstep sounds or something, right? You're very quiet. You can like dart behind like objects, and if no one knows they're there, you can sneak up behind them and slit their throats. Now, other players will never see you move like this. So if they're looking at you, you're just walking around normally like another player, right? And you will stand and act normal if players are looking at you, but they won't see the stand animation. They will always, like, the way it will be programmed from the other player's perspective is they can't see you in your stealth animation ever. You are also invisible from long range. If someone, loses sight of you, you cannot be seen from long range. But at the same time, players can't also, if they're in a party, they can obviously see you, right? So they can't, like, do this as an antagonist check of sorts, right? Also, your sickle is always concealed, all right? Also, you can pickpocket people without them knowing. From behind only, though. You can tase from a knocked down position. If a player throws you on the ground, or you get knocked down from, being hit in the head by a shovel or something, you can still attack while you're downed with your taser. You can combat roll out of a knockdown. So, yes, this means that you can be knocked down, you tase them, you combat roll, you're back up on your feet, no having to do a stand-up animation or a recovery animation. Alright, now thrown items that aren't weapons are automatically caught and collected if you're in combat with that person. So if someone throws their flashlight at you or something, you just catch it and it's in your inventory. So this is only for non-weapons. If someone throws a hatchet or a knife, you can't catch those. Now, you are immune to stun and knockdown from having stuff thrown at you, okay, in combat, all right? You cannot use any other weapons or items or equipment other than the player tracker, all right? So if you manage to kill whoever has the tracker, you can use that. But, of course, if you're in a party, you can use, like, healing items and stuff and act normal around them. But if you're solo, you can't, right? You gain a huge bonus, and this is a mechanic I haven't talked about. I know we're, like, 50 minutes into the video, but there is a crush mechanic. So each of the playable characters, the antagonist, protagonist, etc., well, maybe not the antagonist, or at least the first one, there's a crush mechanic where certain characters will randomly have a crush on other characters, which the game will notify you of. And if you help them survive, or you survive with them, or you help them live, you get some bonus points. So it incentivizes partying up, it incentivizes group play to some extent a little bit, but at the same time, this character is all about betrayal. And so if someone will have a crush on you and they will want to help your character out and give you items and see that you survive, but you get a huge bonus if you kill whoever has a crush on you, but you don't get to know who has a crush on you. And crushes aren't unanimous, as in if you're playing 2 regular characters, the person you have a crush on may or may not always, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, will have a crush back on you. Maybe we make it where there's at least 2 identical crushes each game or something. I don't know. I haven't worked that part out enough yet. But let's get back to this character. So this character is all about killing their crush, deceiving people, and killing them in a party. And, yeah. So let's talk about her other powers. You have a much further zoom out for your third-person camera than anyone else. So this gives you maximum awareness around you. People aren't going to sneak up on you. You can zoom your camera out, okay? And this is only if you've never partied up, though. All right, if you've partied up, then you don't get this power anymore. Now, oh no, I'm sorry. I read that wrong. The crush mechanic. You get a huge bonus if you never party with your crush. If you just kill them outright. So maybe not. We'll figure that out. I don't know. That's still a maybe. Now, you cannot track the antagonist. You can't see his footsteps or footprints. And I don't know if I guess he shows up on the tracker. I haven't figured that part out yet. You also cannot hear the antagonist's terror radius. So the antagonist, number 1, is kind of your character's weakness to a degree. You cannot melee the antagonist or tase him or pickpocket him. You can tase the antagonist to get your pistol back if he somehow takes it from you. The antagonist forces you to spring up from death after being downed when you are in combat with him. So he is the antagonist 1. Like as antagonist 2, you just don't want to fight antagonist 1. You just want to run from him if you can. But again, you can't play dead around him. He will just kill you no matter what. So he is immune to that power. So here is the strategy as this character. Your strategy is to stalk and kill players because you can track them with prints and blah blah blah. Your strategy is to betray them, find people hiding out, and then stealth kill them. If they're just like housed up in a small building trying to ride out the night or something, you have way more awareness, you have stealth ability, you're very low profile, so you are to stealth kill them if you can. You can surprise enemies by coming back from the dead and disarming and killing them with your taser. You want to try to find targets near buildings preferably. So this prevents, how everyone's going to be like hiding in buildings from the antagonist 1? Well, you're antagonist 2, so your strength is the buildings. So this makes the other characters not as safe as they think they would be. You don't want to fight in an open field, though. That would be kind of your weakness. Also, you want to avoid the antagonist completely, right? So the counter strategy to dealing with this character would be have your head on a swivel. Players that are more hyper-aware of their surroundings won't get jumped or stealth killed or snuck up on as easily. Also, this character basically makes it where people can't fully trust everyone that they meet, all right? Also, you want to avoid melee range because you would get tased and disarmed and blah, blah, blah. You also want to be suspicious if you see someone combat rolling, right? If killed, you can tase people that are trying to loot you, right? So, there you go. Why would this character be fun to play as and against? All right, so this is a super fun, stealthy character, stalking kind of gameplay style. Fighting against her will be a jump scare, for sure, right? And a battle of attrition. Getting betrayed will feel bad at first, but it makes future games and partying up with people more tense, which is what it should be. It shouldn't be like we're in a party, we have an advantage over people that aren't in a party. No, there should be some distrust amongst everyone, as in a real situation like this would have. Alright, the next playable character is a loner revolver guy. So his power is he has a 6-shooter revolver with no shot spread. He has 100% accuracy. He does shoot slow with it. He can also enter a power stance when he aims with it. The weapon is very loud. The character is also kind of a schizo and constantly mumbles and rants. So he can't stealth around, and you're very aware of his presence. He can be converted to the nerd group, and his character won't rant and rave and mumble anymore, but he loses all of his powers and all of his perks if he chooses to do so, and we'll talk about the nerd group in a little bit. They're pretty interesting stuff, right? So, when other players are visible, they are highlighted, all right? Now, when you're killed, you can spring up one time and do a running charge towards whoever your killer is as you shoot at them for increased damage. And yeah, that's a one-time thing. If you are fully healed and a day has passed, then you can do it again, all right? So you kind of get a second chance martyr kind of thing, but it's kind of more of an act of desperation. And most of the time your killer is going to be the antagonists, and it's probably not going to do much. But if another just random character does kill you and they don't realize that you're the revolver guy, then you can do it, right? So, if you get killed again, though, you're full dead. If you beat your killer and you recover to a wounded state, if your killer flees and you fail to kill them, you return to life but crippled, alright? So, it's got some mechanics to it. Now, you receive bonus damage multipliers when using the revolver to the following targets, okay? So, this is a loner character for a reason. Let me explain. You get a damage bonus to anyone who is grouped up. You get a damage bonus to the opposite sex. So if your character is male and you're shooting females, then you get a damage bonus, or vice versa. I haven't decided if characters can choose their, thing yet. I think an even number of boys and girls in each round would kind of be mandatory for the crush system, but whatever. You get a damage increase with each kill that you get, but you also get a damage increase with if you have done a lot of damage during the match. You also get more damage when you're wounded, so this is also kind of a berserker stereotype. So imagine you're shooting a female character that's in a group, and you've got like 4 kills, and you've done a ton of damage, and you're wounded. You're going to be like popping heads, dude. You're going to be like, revenge is served kind of character, right? This character is the only character that does not have a crush mechanic, so he doesn't get a crush. This is to offset the antagonist, who also doesn't have a crush, I guess, and the protagonist, who don't technically get. I don't know. We'll figure that out. We'll figure that stuff out later in development, right? So this character receives less points if they win when they are in a group. That means if they do party up and they do win the match, they don't get as many points as they would if they were solo. Also, your character appears as a nerd visually, but the rambling is a tell that you're not really allied with the nerds. So if you see a guy, the revolver dude, and he's rambling, his character's rambling, then he hasn't partied with the nerds yet. That way you know that he doesn't have 4 homies waiting in the bushes to jump you. That's just a balancing mechanic. But I also think it adds character to the schizo character. Anyway, so your strategy as the loner revolver guy is to kill everyone. Try to snowball early, because starting with a gun is really strong in this game, to the point where even the antagonists are technically vulnerable if you're a good shot, and they're not. Hitting your targets and seeing them is way easier with this character than any other character. I mean, they're highlighted. So again, and you're a very gun-centered character. You can play standard. You can play the game normally instead of a loner. If you find the nerd group, you can join them. We'll talk more about them in just a bit. The counter strategy against this guy is to kill him first. Get him into the nerd group so that he's more neutral, more of a neutral friendly character than a neutral antagonist character, right? Because his traits and his damage bonuses all kind of lean him towards an antagonist. But if he does join the nerds, he's more of a protagonist, kind of, sort of. He can, like, choose either or. Like, he's one of the rare characters that gets to do that, right? You want to avoid his charge after defeating him and then finish him off, right? So why would you want to play this character, and why would you want to play against this character? So this is a character purely for people of shooting games. Like, people that like shooting games, this is their shooting game character, right? You just shoot people. That's all you do. You just shoot people. He's basically a Call of Duty character. I mean, there you go, Call of Duty dudes. So the next 4 playable characters are considered the nerd group, and I'm going to explain what their powers are, how they work, and this is either for pre-mades, or this is more for people that want to be forced into a party by the game without having to socialize, and I'll explain, okay? So the nerd group, it's a group of 4. That's right, you start out in a party. That's their power, right? So the nerds start off the match in a party already allied together. They are generally well-liked by everyone on the map, okay? So if you see a nerd, you don't want to kill them usually. I mean, you can, but the antagonists don't like the nerds. The antagonists hate the nerds. They want to kill the nerds. So 3 nerds will always start together on the map with a basic pistol and tools that allows them to do a harvesting and crafting game, all right? These are your kind of Minecrafty characters that you would play. So they can craft explosives, Molotov cocktails for other people, and they're the main characters that alter the state of the game and the story mostly, because if they die early, it's usually bad ending, okay? But I'll explain. The 3 nerds always start off with a fortified base far away from other players, and that zone will never be a danger zone. By the way, there are danger zones. You know how like Fortnite has the enveloping static electricity crap that kills you if you're outside of it, and I hit my mic, I'm sorry. Well, this game doesn't exactly do that. There's different quadrants, and they will be highlighted as dangerous, and if you're in it after a time limit, you instantly die. So that's that. None of this stupid crap where someone comes and heals you and you limp out into a safe zone. None of that shit. It's basically, you get well-warned to leave the area. It's to prevent camping, and if you don't, pop, your heads explode. Alright, so the nerd base will never be a danger zone, right? So they actually get a base that they get to play base defense, essentially. Now, one nerd starts with the tracker item, and he's halfway across the map from the other nerds. Nerds can text chat anywhere in the game to each other. Nerds have a bunch of PvE chore-like quest tasks that'll be randomly generated for them that they can do to boost their earnings and points. The nerds' main objective is to hack the military base and turn off what's called the death callers. Now, every player has a death caller, so if they leave the island or whatever, or they miss the military base, or the time runs out, their callers explode, okay? That's kind of the game's story, sort of, right? The nerds can make a truck bomb to wipe out the military base. They can also make deadly weapons to fight the antagonist with, right? So this is why the antagonist wants to kill them first, preferably. The nerds are the guys that hack the military base, they blow up the base, they kill the antagonists and work with everyone and escape alive. That's the nerd mission, okay? The nerds will be seen roaming the map all over the place, collecting resources and hauling it back to their secret base, all right? So a nerd can be a martyr with the explosive truck. Instead of using it on the military base, they can detonate it on whoever's trying to kill them. And if they detonate it on the main antagonist, the serial killer one, this immediately puts him in the second state of blind death. So it's a way to one-shot the antagonist, but making the explosive truck is something that's going to take quite a while and a lot of teamwork to do. It's not something that a solo player could do. Well, maybe, I guess, make it easier for them to build if their teammates are dead. I don't know. We'll figure that out in balancing. But as long as one nerd is still alive on the map, then they can complete the tasks, but it's a time sink, all right? So the strategy of the nerds is to do their tasks, work as a team, and alter the state of the game so that everyone, except the antagonists, benefit, all right? They want to save the girl and escape the island. That protagonist girl we talked about at the start. They want to save her. If the protagonists are alive and all the antagonists are dead, you only need to hack the base to reach in-game. So if all the bad guys are dead and everyone's working together, the nerds basically can just expedite the game so it ends early. That way, because if no one's fighting, it's a boring match, and it's a way to get game over, go next quicker. All right. Now, if the protagonists are all dead though, then you have to also bomb the military base to reach the end game. So it gives them extra steps. It makes still reaching a win condition much harder because the bad guys are winning. The nerd with the tracking device will need to find everyone's crushes and convince them to pair up with the other nerds. Now, the nerds don't know who's got a crush on who, but if you're like a guy and you want to min-max your points, and you find the nerd with the tracking device, be like, oh, where is the running girl? We haven't talked about her yet. Where's the running girl at? And you'd be like, oh, she's in the mountains. I'll take you there. And then you unite with her and hope she's not the antagonist or something, right? It's just the nerd is the tracking device nerd. His side mission is to hook everybody up. Okay, he's the wingman, I guess, which doesn't make sense for a nerd because he's getting third wheeled. I don't know. We'll figure that out later, right? Also, their mission is to possibly recruit the Revolver guy, which is a risk the nerds have to take. If the Revolver guy doesn't want to party up and he wants to kill everybody, then it's really dangerous for the nerds to encounter him, right? They also have to survive harvesting resources at the landmarks. So, again, like, if antagonists or people that don't want the nerds to win see a nerd trying to, like, mine ore or something, I don't know what they'll be harvesting yet. I haven't figured that far in, but if they see him harvesting, they're like, hey, kill him. So it's there's a bit of risk there. It's kind of like Gathering and Albion Online or something. I don't know, in a Black Zone, right? So the counter strategy to fight the nerds, you want to try to catch them while they get resources at landmarks. You also just maybe stumble upon their base at random, or stalk them to their base by, creeping around being stealthy and wipe them out or destroy their equipment. Or steal their equipment, I guess. We haven't figured that much out yet. But if they have a truck bomb, don't let them melee the front of it. If you're nearby, that detonates it. You will die. The truck blows up, and if you're not the antagonist, you die. Your win condition doesn't really change if the nerds hack the base or bomb the base as the bad guys. But if they escape, you auto lose. So you can't just twiddle your thumbs and wait around, right? If you let the nerds, do their thing very fast and efficiently, they're essentially the people repairing the generators in Dead by Daylight, okay? You gotta kill them before they do that, right? Kind of, sort of. Would these characters be fun to fight as or play against? So, this is the pre-mades in Discord slot for people with no friends, kind of, sort of, right? This gives people that don't have any friends to play with a pseudo-friendship thing that they can have, and I think a lot of games really need to do that. I honestly haven't seen the system do this since World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King in 2012. So yeah, we need more games with these kind of mechanics. This also makes them do like labor if they want a pre-team in a solo queue game, right? Sweatlords will run nerd groups and speedrun XP. Let's just be real. The Sweatlords will queue up as nerds and they will like just fucking bang out objectives like crazy. Alright, let's talk about the next playable character. So this character I've dubbed Cardio Knife Girl, or Running Knife Girl. Her powers are that she's the fastest runner in the game. Now she has a knife. She knifes down players, but she can only kill with executes, which takes a while because she's not really a killer to manically stab them to death. Alright. If she is attacked with a ranged weapon, she gains increased movement speed and damage and attack speed. She has fast recovery from being knocked down because she's very athletic. She has a different system for having damage taken than the other players. So she can run away even after being killed, okay? She can't kill or act anymore or anything, but she can still run away. As in, you've killed her. The game will let you know you've killed her, but she can still full sprint run away from you. And in this state of dying, she can go find her crush while she's bleeding out, and she gets a bonus if she dies in her crush's arms. I know this is I wrote this shit at like 4 in the morning. Shut up, okay? I just think it'd be a fun little game mechanic, okay? So yeah, she's bleeding out. She's got to find her crush, and she dies in their arms, okay? She can't fight during the bleed out phase, and she can only run around and bleed all over the place, right? She can combat slide down slopes, all right? If she's bleeding out, she automatically gets the location of her crush for both players, okay? And, the other player that's like, oh, she has a crush on you, go give her a hug before she dies. And they get bonus points, too. So you get that little moment. You gotta be like, oh, sorry, guys, I gotta go. But there's a killer outside. Well, I gotta go hug my crush before she bleeds out. I'm sorry. It makes a lot of little interesting moments and decisions that the player has to make, right? And the points have to be worth it for the player to want to do these actions. So that would be worked on. Now, she does not alter movement speed down when attacked. So a lot of players, like she gets hit by that crossbow, she won't be slowed. If she gets, stunned or, she's bleeding out or whatever, crippled, she can't be crippled. Her movement speed is not altered. She has increased strafe speed. She does not get tired, and she has infinite stamina, so she can run forever. She can also track wounded players. So if someone is bleeding and wounded, she can track them, okay? She can also inspect dead players to see what killed them, as in this character was killed by a sickle. And then you go and you talk to the antagonist and be like, oh, hey, how long have you been here? Oh, I had to kill this person. I shot them to death. And you're like, oh, okay. So it's a little bit of detective powers. A little bit. Not enough, though. Alright, so the strategy is this character is to run around and knife people, finish them off, collect their loot, and use speed to zoom around and kill everybody. Alright, the counter strategy is to just shoot her a bunch and then follow the blood trail. Now this is where it gets interesting, right? You follow her blood, because she's bleeding when she runs away. You follow the blood trail and you kill the crush that she had. So it's a potential for a double kill. Though you can't run as fast as her, so she can get a little leeways ahead of you. But, you know, it's just interesting dynamics, right? You know, I've thought so hard about this stuff. So why would this character be fun to play or fight against? And so this is for the Call of Duty audience that likes to knife people. I'm one of them. That are melee speedsters, people that want to, like, run real fast and do melee attacks. It would be unfun to have someone zoom up to you and knife you and then execute you, though. That would be kind of annoying. Still, though, this character does easily lose to guns in most matchups. I guess that would be player skill. So, playable character number 12. I have dubbed this character Bulletproof Sword Dude, okay? So his powers, he starts the game with a bulletproof vest and a helmet, which we'll have to, for balancing reasons, make it where the other players can't see the helmet, because that would be a dead giveaway. He has a poison vial also. He can poison a food item, like a lootable food item. So he can go to an encampment, or, you know, like a landmark or something with food items, and he can poison an item. And if another player loots that item and then eats it later, they die, right? So if a player eats a poisoned food, they die very loudly, but minutes later, okay? It's not immediate, okay? It takes a little while for the poison to kick in. Now, it's not like, oh, your character's poisoned, seek health. No, once you eat this food, you're 100% dead. Okay, because the antagonists don't need to eat and certain characters don't need to eat, they're not at a risk of getting lamed out by this mechanic, right? But it is, like, if you're just a dude and you randomly loot an outpost and you're starving and you eat, like, a spoon of pudding or something, and oops, you died to poison, I think that would still be funny, right? It'd be frustrating, but funny. Especially if, like, you eat an item towards the end of the game and you're, like, right at the finish line, you just die. That's gonna happen, and it's gonna piss somebody off, and it'll be funny as hell, right? Anyway, this character takes no damage from head and chest shots, so only arms, legs, those are the only shots that hurt this character, and it's not immediately apparent to you either. This character also starts with a bicycle, so they have a vehicle of sorts that they can travel around on. Also, if they are near the antagonist, the main one with the terror radius, they cannot ride the bicycle. It scares him off of it. So he has to abandon that. So this makes it so that you can't just infinitely run from the antagonist. Now, this character has a katana that can one-shot headshot enemies. Yes, that's right. He has a one-shot mechanic, a one-shottable melee weapon, and he's armored as hell. He's kind of like the armored melee character, right? We have a speedster melee character, an armored melee character, a technical, parryable melee character. We have a lot of different melee characters, and this is the armored one, okay? Now, if his katana is lost, his head does become vulnerable, all right? So he can be headshot by his own katana, right? Now, he can feign death after he's shot. So, again, this is to hide the fact that you have a bulletproof vest and a helmet. And so if you get shot up by, like, the antagonist, you can feign death, but he's just going to loot your katana and kill you anyway. So, yeah. And we'll talk more about that. There's some things you can do with that. Interesting gameplay achievements and mechanics. Now, you can be shot off of your bicycle. So if you're being shot and you're on the bicycle, it knocks you off. This is a dismounting mechanic. The bicycle can be destroyed by other players. They can break it. The bicycle movement speed is buffed on roads, not so much off-road. The katana can sever heads, okay, which you can loot. That's right, you can collect heads. Now, you can combine a severed head with the grenade for a terror grenade. All right. So, what this does is it slows players' actions. So you combine a head with a grenade, you stuff the grenade in the mouth, and you throw the head through the window, and it blows up. And it freaks people out. They're moving slower. They can't switch weapons as quickly. They can't aim down sights as quickly. So it's a very niche thing, but I think it's a really, like, gruesome thing to put in a game, and I think that's really cool. So the strategy, again, to play as this character, you want to ride around and loot stuff. You want to poison a food item, and maybe come back later, see if someone's dead from it, and loot their stuff. You want to chop heads. You want to tank hits. You want to be like the tank of the group if you decide to group up. Your bike can relocate you if an area gets crazy, like you hear gunshots and people, spamming the megaphone or something. You can just get on your bike and leave, right? And this is a bicycle, not a motorbike. Now, the nerds will want to borrow your bike or have you be used as a pack mule. So the nerds will most likely want to be your friend. If they see you on a bicycle, they're probably going to try to be your friend, okay? The counter strategy to fight this guy is to just steal and trash his bike. Just break it. Just screw him up. You want to shoot him in the legs until he's crippled and then katana him. Because when he's crippled, you can loot his katana, and then you just execute him with a katana. Also, don't trust the food. If this guy's been in an outpost or near an outpost, don't eat any of the food because it might be poisoned. So why would this character be fun to play or fight against? So it would be really funny to see the poison mechanic making some game changer play, right? Like you're like late at the end game, someone decides to betray, like the second antagonist, and oops, she doesn't need to eat, so that wouldn't really happen. But there'd be some very interesting, clips from it for sure. The sword is only mildly useful at best. It's fun to ride around and roam around the map, though. So this is more of a roaming around, like, kind of driving character. But yeah, that is all the characters for the game so far. So yeah, that's basically it. I think I talked about win conditions. You can either just kill everyone, be the last person standing, you automatically win if you're the lone survivor. After 30 minutes, everyone dies if you don't, decide. Like, if people party up and the nerds haven't hacked the military base or done their stuff, then you literally have to unparty and kill each other, or everyone loses, kind of thing, right? Or you can, like, find a boat or something and escape if the nerds have hacked your collars so that they're disabled. Otherwise, you try to leave the island on the boat. Poof, your head goes explodey, and you're dead. But to get the boat, you'd have to gas it up. Again, this is stuff from, like, again, I'm combining a whole bunch of different mechanics from a whole lot of different games. But I think that as a battle royale with, like 14, 16 players or something, I forget how many characters I have here, but it's a much smaller battle royale, a much faster one, a much more drama-filled and intense and interesting one than 100 people dropped on random locations and then they fight in a circle at the end. I think that this would change battle royales quite a bit because it's a mix between, a shooting game, a mix between, like a gathering horror game. So I think it'd be a lot of fun. But let me know in the comments, what character would you want to play as most? What character would you hate to fight against most, and why? But again, I'm just a guy that plays video games. I don't have money or knowledge or know-how to make games, and unless this YouTube channel blows up with, tens of hundreds of millions of subscribers getting 10 to 20 million monthly views, then I'll never be able to afford to fund this game anyway. But with that said, just let me know what you think. I thought it's just an idea that I've had for a very long time. And it's not even my favorite game idea. I have other game ideas that I would really want to make even more than this one. I just think this one would be easy to make, it would be cheap to make, and it would be fun for, a little while. That people would queue up for and enjoy and have some fun with and make some fun memories. Maybe make some friends, and that's what's important. But anyway, that's all I've got. Leave a comment, please. You're my only social interaction. I have no friends. And finally, hopefully the background of whatever video game I'm playing is entertaining for you. Apparently, I have to play a video game for an hour and 18 minutes now, because that's how long I talked. Finally, click the video on the right side of your screen, and if you do, one day your dream game will be made.